Hi, hopefully the video improved from this morning. The topic has to be continued. The dream is the topic. So the dream means fantasizing about a partner that we want to pursue. Sometimes there's a point dividing it into precognition. Precognition means from non-verbal communication to verbal communication, having an idea about a person that we are going to meet, from the vocabulary that that person uses to how that person is, or mentioned before, the unique imprint of the body. That means a person's unique perception of that person by others, is self included, and that is what, excuse me, let's open it. That is what is useful to be determining the attitude that we have. That's what I want towards that person. Meaning, if that person is a good person from from the hexa method, the person is an altruist, meaning that person is good to all at expense of self, recovering as much as possible to assist others voluntarily. So then that person is loved, and that is as if one knew that person. And so that is, some say, not confirmed until that person is met, and called, if that is confirmed, so precognition, if not a dream. And many persons, because of that, since childhood, change locations and pursue a person who is unknown. I'm not speaking about the jobs and other options or education. I'm talking about pursuing a specific person who actually we do not know at first, or we met once and that became a fantasy. And so the difference between the reality and the dream is that in the dream we do not always form an active part. And some say that the dreams can be shaping reality. I say that it is so for sure, because it was shown to me in classes of mind and psychology in Zen, in classical, actually Chinese Zen, and that is actually not true that always it is accurate. However, it is possible to manipulate or hurt freedom of that non-verbal communication, and that is going to be discussed later on, that is very harmful. And that is done when those dreams are sold or used to dupe persons to not to pursue or reject in reality, especially by external harassment in which the two are victims. And that is how there's an uneven distribution of goods, as well as emergency situations in which the one of the two or two persons are forced to proclaim sexual relationship, or pursue it, or the other way around, forced out of it, to not to be able to have something that is wanted, to take an action in person to see if in degree of proximity that if it will change. And that is done often to help, but see, there is no help during which we harm. That is not help. So for example, if a person comes and hurts me, that is the only circumstances in which that person can make me understand that that person is in pain, to assist. That is not the way to go to have, for instance, medical attention. And it is common, and often it is so that physicians were kidnapped, and afterwards all the assistance is dismissed by the same persons from medical health, and we are blackmailed, for instance, by non-receiving of medical assistance or other excuses, presenting as a reason, in theoretically good faith, the pursuit of a specific person that the society indicates each time, often a different person, that the society says is supposed to end in child and in marriage and in commitment. and the society chooses always the person who is less desired, depending on degree and skills, to be able to coerce payments from that person or from family and obtain free labor, and dismiss the authorship of that labor, saying that person is actually not an author, the author is a man, and separating persons from personal relationships to rob the other one of also authorship, because if a person does not have an idea what the work is about, then the person is robbed of that authorship as well, and have that going on under the delusion, because it is a delusion, it's an impression that mind to mind communication substitutes work together, and it is the same as having sex as opposed to dreaming about it. Yes, what the difference is that between sex and between dreaming about it, the difference is that even if the other person knows about it and followed every word, that person, because we do not share the body, never can have actually this statement, we had sex when we didn't, and it is done often, and based on that then there's anger, social anger, to pursue persons, limit for instance access to food, to other commodities, divorce also, many things that then bring the pursuit toward the other persons to declare, do you want to have a relationship, or is that a community of yours just trying to collectively dismiss me or my life even, or other persons in the same situation, to have you also reject that as unwanted and prejudiced unilaterally, to promote innocence of one person while the other one is punished with rage, with phrases such as you are a woman, so you have to pursue sexual relationship, or you are an adult. And so dismissal of the work lore and fraternizing, meaning calling nicknames and reducing the person, is motivated by imagination that is precognizant, meaning to others that is shown that the other one and someone else share some fondness, however did not pursue sexually, which is basis as if it was consummated, to act and adjust as if it was a marriage, also to, for instance, expenses, to divide one person's savings or an income and take them completely away, while the other one has still a yield to earn, running around and complaining about being abandoned. It's very common. And then if you ask that person, would you like to come back or have children, that person refuses sex, and that is what church is against, or it used to be that based on that those marriages were actually illegal to not to provide culpability in, but nowadays it is not, because of blackmail and because of hostage situations, it's not possible to pursue. So what I'm saying is that there is no sex if there was no sex, and what it is also true that the person each is source of personal emotions for the other, and this, if the other one does not share them, they stop. And the problem with that is that they stop if the person avoids contact and does not want to agree on official statement, I do not want to have marriage, children, or sex with you. The other ones will retake stalking, and by insinuation non-stop of a relationship or requirements to pursue that person, prevent an income, prevent also dignified work, force into low-tier job in contempt from a lack of sexual appreciation, while the other one has that earnings coming from higher degree of desire-based natural law, having benefited a spouse as if he was a company, not a family. And hence that rage and persons then offending, right? And so then that couple is illegal, and whoever is collecting checks on her or his name is a criminal that can be actually divorced legally if that is provable that those people do not want to have sex, or use, for instance, services such as in vitro fertilization or other adoption clinics without having an actual basis to have a family. That is based, of course, on animal model, and fraternizing with people who repeat that model well does cause discomfort. So, again, to know how to resolve it, we need to know the difference between reality and dream, and to know also certain rules. Preventing dream by pain by causing harm or lying, causes aggravation and does not dismiss that the dream depending on the degree of duping or conning the other person and the degree of to think that the other one does not love, and also to the degree of pursuit of that person of other activities, being able to leave them aside in perception that the other activities are not family life, and or that person can work up to the certain level of the relationship to have the same degree of infatuation and love while the other one is labeled. So it's always reciprocity, because sexual act requires mutual preparation, physiological one. Therefore the pursuit of persons, when it is against, in theory, against will, it's either confusion to identity, a person pursues a person who looks alike, or it is because the other one insinuates that that relationship requires official statement to others that that person has right to an independent income, and that it does not require sexual activity or pretended sexual activity or marriage, unwanted one, to another one, be it an attending, a supervisor of some sort, worker, or a random person belonging to an organization, which is common. And it is in this regard, actually, of emotions towards those persons. Meaning, we can have that dream, and it is useful to make a list of persons that actually are loved, but the degree of that person being harming on purpose, in negligence of well-being of the other, or attacking the person to harm or to imprison, or being fooled to dismiss that person as stupider or less than any other person of same gender as that person, or any other person in same field of different or same gender, which is unfair competition. And so that is how the dream, American dream, is actually a treachery, and all those dreamers often are trapped by force to stay in the United States, to pursue persons that are prevented. And that is, see the difference. A person needs to be not source of information in person, meaning that person in person needs to deny, I do not want to, or formally in writing, I do not want to have sex, children based on sexual desire or love, or have a so-called long-term based in natural law relationship with you, and it needs to be true, I am sure about it, because if not, that person will dream about it and will pursue it, and that will cost again having an obstacle. So the two know together what the truth is. The rule of a thumb is that if there was once at least from dream to body a situation in which the two wished together for child in sexual act as the desire, and that is how it is remembered as being in love, then that the two have at some point a need to be harmed, and it needs to be at fault of one of them, and not in direct pain that the other one's fault, that it was caused by that person to reject it. Meaning the person needs to now at a newly acquired instinct have an instinct to kill, harm, or commit negligence of a person prior to that loved, to be able to break apart those relationships. And that then, for whoever it is that it is being pursued, because those are persons that are actually persons who also are presented as potential suitors, depending on whoever it is that it is being pursued, that person is at risk of being harmed by group stalking and social stalking as well, having no chance, in fact. Because once there is love between persons, that as I described, it is not possible to overcome it unless it is proven that these persons, from the beginning to the end, at best, for instance, had in interest giving each other flattery or luxury, and in situation where not at fault one or the other, non-causing harm to one another, are in danger, or when participating, one and the other have an instinct to save one another's life and alleviate suffering. And that is when, if it is opposite, the sexual desire is not possible. Now, when it is framing, meaning others hold person from attention or a lie about it, then that is not veracious, or it's not accurate.